What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be going over 5 settings in Battlefield 2042 that I personally think are an absolute must and will genuinely improve your game once you get the hang of the changes. This isn't going to be a complete settings guide or anything like that. There are plenty of those already out there, so I thought I'd change it up just a little bit. But if that is something that you guys are interested in seeing, then do make sure to let me know in the comments and I'll see if that's something I can get out there eventually. But yeah, for this video anyway, we're going to just be covering 5 settings and going into depth about why I think they're a must-have. Before we get into it, if you guys are new to the channel, then consider subscribing and turning on those notifications. But with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. So the first setting that I'll always recommend, not only in this game but in literally any shooter you ever play, is to turn your soldier buttons to alternate. And keep in mind, this one only really applies to controller, but the rest of these settings are for PC and controller players alike. Now what this one does is it moves your melee button from the right stick to the B or circle buttons depending on your platform, and then it moves your crouch and prone button from those same buttons to the right stick instead. Now this will feel absolutely weird as hell when you first use it. You're going to try this out and you're instantly going to feel like it's all backwards and weird, and yeah, I can almost guarantee that you won't like it when you first try it. But I need you guys to trust me on this one. This single setting change can genuinely improve your game on its own, and once you get the hang of it after maybe 1 or 2 sessions of playtime, you will never go back to how it was. This is literally the first setting I change in any new shooter that I play. The reason it's so useful and the reason it's going to improve your skill ceiling is because it puts almost all of your player motion into the sticks, meaning you can obviously aim, move, and now crouch and prone without ever taking your thumbs off the sticks. The only character movement that requires you to take your thumb off is to jump, so it essentially just means you're going to be able to master your movement a whole lot easier and allow you to evade and slide behind cover way better than you ever could with the base settings. Like I said, this is going to feel super weird, but I'm going to need you guys to trust me on this one. Once you get the hang of this, you'll honestly be mad that you didn't change it earlier, and all I ask is that you guys give it a go for at least a week or so. It will take time to get used to, but you're going to be thanking me once you do get the hang of it, so be sure to change this one next time you load up the game. Now the next thing on the list, and this one is kind of obvious to a lot of people, but for some people it isn't quite as obvious, and this is that you should increase your field of view settings even if you don't really like the look of it. I hear a lot of people saying in my comments or on live streams that it looks weird to them, and that's definitely fair enough. It is really jarring when you don't use a higher FOV yourself, but at the end of the day it's subjective whether or not you like the look of it, yet it is definitely not subjective when it comes to the advantage that it gives you, because that is an objective fact that it gives you a pretty significant advantage. In this first clip here, I'm playing on a 55 FOV, which I believe is the base FOV, but I could be wrong on that. But either way, this example still stands. You can see just how little I can actually see on my screen. All the way over on the left, you can just see the little like cement doorway thing, and then on the right, you can only just see the pole there. When I turn the FOV up to 100, however, and it does actually go to 105, but I personally just prefer 100, just look at how much more I can actually see on my screen. The difference is actually crazy, and it means you can literally just see more of the map at all times. In this next example, you can see the pole there on the right. It's clearly within your vision, and let's just pretend that pole is an enemy. If that's an enemy and you're running along, you're easily going to see them in that spot, right? Well, when I turn it down to 55 again, bam, you literally cannot even see that enemy, and it's not like he was far away either. He's literally right there next to me and would easily kill me if I can't see him. Once I turn it back to 100 though, obviously you can see the enemy now, and so yeah, that's a prime example of how important the FOV slider is. Now it is subjective, so I know a lot of you will probably just prefer the look of the regular FOV, and at the end of the day, if you like the look of the base FOV better, then that's really all that matters. But yeah, I just think it is important for you guys to know how much of an advantage a high FOV actually makes. So whether or not you like the look of it or whether or not you change it, at least now you guys know the difference, and hopefully that helps you guys make your decision. The other thing to note is that you don't have to put it to 100. If it looks a little bit too weird, you can, you know, settle for 90 or even 80 or something like that. Just increasing it even by a little bit is definitely going to be an advantage, and essentially the more you increase it, the more of an advantage it is. So you don't have to go all the way to 100 or 105, but even if you just up it by 5, honestly I could not recommend it more. You can literally just see it more on your screen, so it is definitely a very big advantage. Now the next setting is in relation to that one, and if you don't want to change your FOV, then this one doesn't really apply to you so much, so you can skip ahead to the next tip and just save some time, and there will be a timestamp down below to skip ahead. But this next one is that you want to turn your ADS field of view on rather than off like it normally is. What this does is it just matches your ADS zoom to your FOV, so if you do go with say a 100 FOV like I do, then ADSing will pretty much match that zoom, making it a lot more zoomed out when you ADS. This might seem counterintuitive at first, but what it does is drastically reduce your visual recoil, and I do already have a video on that, so I won't dive too deep into it. But yeah, essentially this just makes your recoil a lot easier to handle visually, and it's also just the same principle as the FOV settings I mentioned earlier. It just means that you can see more on your screen as well. well. Awareness is one of the most important elements of any shooter, and even more so in a large scale game like Battlefield, where there's just so many different things going on at once. So yeah, if you can increase your awareness by seeing more on screen, while also having a much smoother feeling ADS and recoil pattern, it'll help you a hell of a lot when it comes to hitting your shots and also knowing when to get to cover. Now next up we have a pretty simple one, but it is one of my personal favorites as I love playing as Falcon Angel, and this one is that you want to turn the revive interaction setting to toggle. What this does is it allows you to just simply tap X or square depending on your platform to perform a revive, rather than needing to hold it down, and so you can actually run up to a down teammate, tap the revive button, and then it will pretty much just do the rest of the revive for you so long as you stay close enough. This allows you to then have full control over your player again, rather than having to pretty much stand there without really moving and revive them, so you can still move around, aim, crouch or go prone while the revive still happens, and it just makes it a hell of a lot safer for you, meaning you're a lot less likely to die while reviving them, and then obviously that is pretty important for the downed player as well. Like I said, it is a pretty small change, but I think once you've used it a few times you'll know exactly what I mean when I say how helpful it is for your survival. Now last but definitely not least, we have a really important change if you wear a headset when you're playing, and that is to turn the audio mix to 3D headphones. What this one does, and it even says this in the description itself, is that it allows you to better perceive the position of sounds behind, below and above you. Essentially what that means is that it kind of gives you a better understanding of where the noises are coming from by making them more realistic in a 3D setting. So if someone is above you, it won't sound as much like they're running around right in front of you, rather you'll be able to tell that they're actually above you. What I will say is, just like a few of the other settings, this one will take a good minute to get used to. It sounds super weird when you first switch it over, and I actually almost switched back to normal after like half a game, but yeah, it really does help, and after you've played a few games you won't even notice it's any different. So yeah, this one is another one that I really recommend giving it a try, as it will just add even further to your awareness in game. So those are the 5 settings that I think you guys should definitely change if you're looking to improve your game and take it to that next level. Obviously switching these over isn't going to turn you from like a 1.5 KD player to some 6.3 KD demon or something like that, but genuinely over time, if you're a 1.5 KD player, these changes could honestly bump you up to a 1.7 or a 1.8 over the course of 6 months, for example. Individually they won't make a drastic difference, but when you change all of these at once and get the hang of them, it really does make a bigger difference than you'd think it would. So yeah, give them a go, give them a proper chance to see if you like them, rather than just changing them back after one game, and I promise you guys will see some improvement just from changing these settings. That is going to do it for this one though, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new, then consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on. If you guys want to support the content that I make here on YouTube, then consider becoming a channel member. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.